So this is our section 8.3, and we're now on the top of page 47. So we'll do a little bit with rulers in this video. You've done some with rulers in Foundations of Math, but the idea we have to start off with is figuring out how many spaces there are between each number. We need to count spaces. So here we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. And those spaces give us the denominator of our fraction. So we'd have 8, and the smallest division would be 1/8. If we look at C, between here and here, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spaces. So our smallest division would be 1/10. So we won't do all of these, but we'll look at some of them. First thing we have to do on the top, we'll do A first, is figure out how many spaces there are between the beginning and 1, or between 1 and 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. So our denominator would be 8. And if we're looking at A, then we need to figure out how many spaces over it is. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces over. We need to reduce, divide both the top and the bottom by 2, and we get 3/4 of an inch. Let's look at C. C is after 3, so we'd have a big 3 in front. And it's 1 space after, so we'd have a 1 on top. And it's still divided into 8s, so we'd have 3 and 1/8. Now you could write out IN for inches, or you can use 2 marks, and that stands for inches as well. So let's look at the bottom. Let's look at F. So before we start with F, we need to figure out how many spaces there are between any two numbers. We can count them. If you count them, there'll be 16. Now this 16 right here is telling you there are 16 spaces between each number. And that's why there's this 8 here. It's trying to tell you that there's 8 spaces between each number. So we know from that 16 on the bottom that the bottom of our fraction is going to be 16. Now F is after the 1, so we'll have 1. And then we need to count how many spaces after the 1 it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spaces. So we have 1 and 9/16 of an inch. Let's look at the next ruler. The next ruler tells us that the top is in 30 and the bottom is in 64ths. So if we look at B first on the top, it's after the 1, so we'll have 1. We know it's on the top, so the denominator will be 30. And how many spaces after the 1 is it? It's 1, 2, 3 spaces. So we have 1 and 3 30 of an inch. Let's look at D. Now the bottom part of the fraction, or the ruler, is divided into 64ths. So we have a 64 on the bottom. And then we need to figure out where D is. Now particularly in rulers where we have a whole bunch of little spaces, it's telling us some marks. So it's telling us that this is 32 spaces over, this is 24 spaces over. So you can count up from 24, or you can count down from 32. If we count up from 24, we see 25, 26, 27, and 28. So D is at 28. And you would get the same thing if you counted backwards from 32. Now both of those numbers can be divided by 4. We divide the top by 4, we get 7. If we divide the bottom by 4, we get 16. So it's 7/16 of an inch. And we'll come back in the next video and look at micrometers.